Hello, so we are live on Twitch right now with Shayma, and she is known by Shayma the Explorer uh, on Instagram. So Shayma is an NHS worker. She's currently very busy working in frontline, helping out in hospitals. She's also known by her traveling. It's quite amazing. I love the pictures that you put up and the videos. Seems like you can't do any of that right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I did go on a holiday before this whole lockdown.
Really? Where did you go?
I went to Kuwait, so I'm not,
You're not missing
I'm
out.
not deprived. I'm not deprived of a holiday.
That's really good. So tell us, Shema, what do you do at the hospital? What is your role?
So I'm an ITU nurse, and being an ITU nurse, you're not just a nurse. You're a doctor, a nurse, anaesthetist. You're literally everything for this patient. Because I mean, depending on how much support the patient needs.
Yeah.
Sometimes the patient is in an induced coma, so you're literally like making sure that the medications for his induced coma are going and not running out, and you make sure that the patient is, alive and breathing.
Wow.
And it also depends. You have like different setting on ventilation as well. So like sometimes the ventilator is basically breathing for that patient. So you have to make sure like you're like on your feet constantly, making sure that you're looking after that one patient. People think that because we look after just a patient, or sometimes we look after two patients, that we have it easy. But one patient is like literally looking after 10 people.
Yeah, must be hard. So on a normal day, how many hours do you work a week or a day? Like how is the schedule in terms from like Monday to Sunday? Do you get the weekends? Does it depend?
So my schedule is very crazy where I work. So we work 12 hours and a half a day.
How many? Sorry, say that again.
We work 12 and a half hours.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. And
damn,
where I work a week, we work 57.5 hours, I think.
Whoa.
So yeah.
It's like full time and more.
Exactly, and extra, So within a week, I work like 5 to 4 shifts a week.
Yeah.
All together, so one after the other.
Oh wow. Yeah. Do you have night shifts as well?
Yeah, so we do days and nights. So sometimes we do like 3 days and 2 nights, or you do like 2 days and 3 nights. It's quite busy.
Yeah. So why did you choose to become a nurse? For some reason I thought you were a midwife.
So I worked in maternity.
No, okay.
So you're okay.
Okay.
I went from like life to, I don't know, death and life, basically. Yes, I used to work in maternity.
And then So yeah. Tell us. Let's get into it. Tell us. So obviously the COVID-19 pandemic, or it started in China. Back then, over here, it wasn't really, I would say, around January time. There was no like fuzz. There was like no problems in that. Tell us how it has progressed from January till now.
I think the main issue that most of us healthcare professionals are really angry about is the fact that it started spreading, and our government hasn't prepared itself for this pandemic. I think that's like a really big issue that we need to address mainly. So I feel like it did start in Wuhan, and then it started progressing to different other places, but the government was not prepared. So some hospitals didn't have the appropriate PPE, which I'm sure you guys have heard of. Us nurses were not prepared for this whole change. Like our routine has changed drastically.
Yeah. So are you saying your particular routine that you used to do, is it different?
Yeah.
It's different now. More hours.
Not just more hours, like, so how I said we look after one patient, and we are everything to that one patient.
Yeah.
So we're now having to look after 3 patients that are in induced comas for one nurse, which is usually a 1-to-1. So it's more stress, it's more work, you know, and as a team we try to kind of lift the stress from each and everybody of us. But then at the same time, it's like you're angry at the government for not kind of being prepared for this. You know, because now we are left to kind of deal with everything. Like the healthcare professionals are left to like clean up the mess, you know, that could have been potentially prevented anyways. So it's just like it's very it's affected a lot of people. It's affected a lot of us. Like even the doctors are now having to do bedside nursing. They're having to like step in. You're having people who are not ITU trained having to work in ITU, and it's, you know, I mean, working in ITU, you have to be very you have to know what you're doing. I mean, not that they don't know what they're doing, but you have to. It's different from any type of nursing from all the other departments. This is really intense. So people like that and dental nurses, for example, are having to work with us, which doesn't make sense. Everybody's having to like relocate now. To kind of fill up the voids, because you're like, nurses are needed.
Okay, you know, yesterday I was supposed to have a podcast talking about, with a nutritionist, talking about, you know, nutrition in Ramadan, etc. But then I had to cancel it because the guy who is not trained medically, is not a nurse or a doctor, is volunteering right now in hospitals. So how, I mean, I don't understand how someone who doesn't have any training can do in a hospital. I mean, do you guys have any like any people volunteering right now?
So I mean, not in our hospital, but like I said, they are trying to relocate. Like for example, there's dental nurses, and they having to be the healthcare assistants. You know, they're not qualified for this. They don't know what they're doing. So I've had like DMs on my message on my Instagram. With certain sisters telling me, oh, you know, I'm a dental nurse and I've been relocated in ITU. And funny enough, it was my hospital, it was my ITU. And she was like, I couldn't handle it. Like she said, I could not be in there. Like I don't know how you guys do it.
So what is the situation right now in the hospitals?
So basically, I mean, it's different in different hospitals, because I have other friends who are nurses. Their situation in their hospital is obviously different. It's improving. I've been off from work, as you know. So I don't know the specifics, but when I left, it was quite bad. I have gotten in contact with some of my friends who obviously are working now, and they said it's still as bad as it was, if not worse than when I left off sick, basically. So it's not really, I feel like it's gonna get worse before it does get better. And that's why, you know, they've opened a new Nightingale hospital, which is like one of the best in the whole world, to prepare themselves. And I feel like it's a bit late, because all the departments now in every hospitals have been filled up with COVID patients. Whereas if they got ready themselves beforehand, it wouldn't be as bad, you know, you would be more prepared. But now it's like most departments who are not even ITU trained, they're having to look after COVID patients. And, you know, with COVID, it affects your breathing. So then you might have to go into induced comas to kind of help you breathe and stuff. Or like you need different type of settings of like ventilation. You know, that we have different ventilation settings. And other departments don't know how to use these things, you know? So it's hard on literally everybody within the NHS right now.
Wow. Oh my God. It does. It sounds like it sounds quite difficult to be in a situation like this, both for the patient and for you guys who are working there. Have you had any interaction with any COVID-19 patients?
Yes, hence why I'm in this situation.
Do you know? Let's talk about the situation you're at. What happened to you? Tell me. What happened?
So, basically, the day. So I.
Sorry for smiling or laughing. It's actually not a laughing matter. I was so shocked when I heard. I actually couldn't I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I was looking after COVID for well, it wasn't just me. It was me and my colleague. We were looking after 2 patients each that have COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly the day after, I was going to work and I was not feeling well. And I knew, like, within yourself, when you're not feeling well.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know why. Like, I'm not feeling well. I feel cold. I feel hot. Like, I had all the fever symptoms. And I still went to work. And because we were short of stuff, I thought I need to try and hack this, and I need to try and handle it and just kind of try my best to stay at work.
Yeah.
Although I was feeling really, really weak. And towards
weak, like how? What do you mean?
So like I had literally no energy. Like, I had headaches, my eyes were really red, it was burning, I was feeling cold, I was feeling hot. So I felt really weak, and then I was like, there's definitely something wrong with me, because I don't usually get ill, alhamdulillah. And then towards 6 o'clock, I was like, I can't deal with it anymore, and we were short of staff, so I felt really bad to kind of leave my colleagues to look after my patient. So then I thought at 6 o'clock, I was like, I can't deal with this, like, I need to check my temperature. I checked my temperature and it was 38.6, and I was like, I think I shouldn't be here. And then my colleague screams like, that's a sign of COVID, you need to go, that's a sign of COVID. I was like, oh yeah, I think I should go. So then that's how I got my COVID story,
And what happened after that?
So after that, I was at home for I think it was 5 days, and I messaged occupational health, which is like basically like our doctor, nurses, whatever, that you contact whenever you're not feeling well. So I contacted them to see if I could get tested, because not all the nurses, the nurses are not being tested unless you have signs and symptoms of COVID. And I was told, oh, you've been at home for 5 days now, it's fine, you don't need to be tested. And then 2 weeks down the line, I was still feeling quite unwell. And I called in sick, and I think the person who was in charge on that day put on the system that I have COVID symptoms. This is 2 weeks later, somebody decided.
So I just want to understand, what was happening that 2 weeks? Were you actually still working?
No. So I stayed at home. I was like, I'm not going in. Like, at this point, I'm still not. I still haven't been tested for the COVID.
All right.
I was just at home with symptoms. It was more like headaches.
And you were at home with your family?
No. So I self-isolated myself. So
in your room?
Basically, I'm by myself. I don't have anybody that I feel scared for.
Good.
So I was already self-isolating anyways, as I should, not going out, staying at home. And then 2 weeks later, I received a call, and I was invited to get tested. So I went to the test place. I was really excited, because I'm like, okay, 2 weeks, I've had these symptoms, and I was like,
you were excited. Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm like, finally, like, hello, I've been waiting. Like, because as nurses, like, you give your best, you're trying to give your best to the patients and everything. You are subjected to, like, physical, mental, and psychological, like, you're affected in every type of way. Okay, so when I had my symptoms, I was in my head, I'm thinking, okay, they will care enough to send me straight away, thinking, okay, she's one of our IT nurses, she is, like, not a priority, because we're all priority, but I have the symptoms, I am working with COVID patients. I thought, okay, they will send me straight away. So waiting 2 weeks.
So you were in the waiting list for 2 weeks?
I wasn't even on a list. I was told that, after 5 days, you don't need to be, you just need to self-isolate. You don't need to be tested. So after 2 weeks, when I received the call of you being invited to get tested, I was like, oh, finally, about time somebody cares, enough to kind of send me to get tested. So I went to the test place, and it was the most traumatizing
experience.
I don't know if you see my Instagram.
I saw it.
I was so shocked. Like, I went to the place, and so these times they're not like nurses, they are dental nurses and dentists who are doing the test, right? So when I went there, I wasn't aware about all of this anyways. So I'm assuming they're nurses, it's fine. So I go there, and I told them, on the email it said, if you're uncomfortable or you can't do the test by yourself, to let us know, and we'll find a nurse to do it for you, right? Bear in mind, I work in ITU. We have been shown how this test is done by our consultant, you know?
Yeah.
And he said, if you don't do it properly, you will get results that are not correct. Right? So he showed us how to do the test, and it was horrific. So when I first saw that, I was praying that I'd never have to get it done, all right? Get it done from somebody. So imagine me going to the place and being told, oh, sorry, well, there isn't anybody to do the test for you. You either do it yourself or you don't get it done today. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I can't do it by myself. I can't. So you have like a swab. It's this long, right? And you have to try and get it all the way here into your nostril. Yeah. And go all the way as deep as you can. Exactly.
No.
Yeah. So before you go into your nostril, you have to go into your throat, like, so as far as you can go. So you're literally gagging, and then into your nostril all the way down, right?
So you have to do it through your mouth and through your nose?
Yeah.
Same one from different sides?
Yeah. Same swab.
Same end?
It's the same length. Yeah. But with the mouth it's easier because you gag and you know, like, you know, I'm there. But with the nose, it's like you have to try and go all the way through, no? And also I can't do it by myself. Like, I tried and I was like, I can't do it. And then in my head I was like, do you know what? If I don't do it properly, I won't get a result, and I could potentially put loads of people at risk, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously Ramadan is soon, and I'm thinking, if the result is positive, I can't visit my family.
Yeah.
And if I'm trying to be stubborn and stuff and I don't get tested today, then I could put so many people at risk, including my colleagues. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I tried to go as far as I could, and when I tell you, I was trying to do it as slow as possible, because obviously you're inflicting pain to yourself. Yeah, it's not fun at all. And it was so painful. Like, I was literally like in tears. Because you're in your head, you're like, if I don't go as far as possible, I'm not gonna get the result I want. Yeah. So I'm just gonna have to hack this pain and just inflict this pain on myself. Yeah. And then the guy beside, like, he was, I think, a dental nurse, and he was literally rushing me. He's like, "Why are you sneezing? Like, it's a normal process of putting something in your nose. You will sneeze because it's not supposed to be in there." And then, like, he was just rushing me. Like, he's like, "Why are you doing it so slow? You don't have to go deep, that much deep." Blah. I was so annoyed. I was like, just take the swab. Like, I can't do this. And these times I'm already angry at the fact that these people didn't find me somebody to do it for me. And I'm doing it by myself. And now on top of that, you're stressing me, putting more anxiety on me. I was just like, I was so done with that day. And then, you know, you start thinking, like everything people were telling me was true. Like, you know, I'm just a number to these people. I'm just a nurse. I'm just here to do my job and go home. Like, no one cares if I die. You know, and you start getting all these thoughts in your head, and you think, like,
is it worth it?
Is it really worth it? But then at the same time, there is the benefits of seeing patients go home and
get better.
You know, get better. So I'm just like, I was so torn. Like, literally, I started like getting tears in my eyes. I don't usually cry unless I'm really pissed. I was so angry, and I was like, really, is this really happening to me? And then when we finished, you know, like, I mean, when you're crying, you have like everything coming down your nose, your eyes. And I was like, can I at least have a tissue? You know, that's the most humane thing you can do for somebody. And they were like, we don't have any tissues.
It's like you asked them for £10 because, you know, tissue and toilet paper is currency right now. So
it's currency.
It's currency right now. You asked for too much, okay?
I thought, is this too much? It's like me asking, I felt like I was asking for $1,000 or something. Like, yeah. Just a tissue, you know? So anyways, I made a complaint about them, and because I thought, is it just me? Is it like, you know, is this how the test is done? And, you know, is this why a lot of people are getting fake results? So when I made the complaint, I spoke to occupational health, and he was like, they know well enough that if somebody can't do the test by themselves, they should contact us and we'll send one of the nurses.
Oh.
And I was so annoyed. I was like, okay, so I was right. You know, they make you feel like maybe I read the email wrong. I reread it like 50 times after that. I was like, did I make a mistake? No, so then they were like, we will speak to whoever was in charge on that day and tell them, that this is unacceptable. And I was like, it is unacceptable because we are risking our lives every day.
Yeah.
Like, and it is the job we signed up to, but it doesn't mean that because I signed up to saving people's lives, it doesn't mean that I care, like nobody cares about me and I am less of a human as it.
I'm guessing they probably thought they didn't have enough experience to do it for you, and they probably didn't want to come close to you because obviously if you were positive, it means like there's they can potentially catch it from you. I think they were just, but I thought if you, I mean, were they like protected? Were they using?
So that's one thing that actually did piss me off quite a bit. It was that the guy that was giving me the swab, he was fully protected. I'm like, what is the point of you being fully protected if I am in the car, like literally, because you have to do it in the car by yourself, right? The window is closed. There's no contact between me and him. He was fully protected. And the thing is their protocol to know that they can call somebody else, so they don't have to do the test themselves. They have to just put occupational health and say, we have somebody who's not comfortable doing their test, and they will send a nurse down anyways. So it's not them putting their lives at risk.
What was this guy from?
Originally.
Okay, now I know. You laughed. I know. Was he white?
Of course.
I was actually reading today, someone on Instagram posted something about why there is more COVID-19, ethnic COVID-19 patients and people dying from it than any other race. I think, it's just, people are racist. I guess. No, but that article was more saying that obviously, like, because more of the there's actually high numbers of doctors and nurses that are ethnic who are working right now in the front line, and because obviously their living situation is not, I mean, even if they want to isolate, they can't because they don't really live in bigger houses. It's more like, economically, obviously, they're not.
I think there's two issues, right? So the first one is that, let's be honest, people within African, Asian community, we are the working class,
Yeah.
The ones who are making the money, the ones who are at the top of the chain are the white people. So they have the privilege to stay at home and
work from home. Even if they want to isolate, there is enough space for them to isolate themselves from their families. These doctors, when they have to go back home, they're probably going back home to like a 2-bedroom house with like their wife, their son, and his parents. So you have like 2 to 3 generation there that is potentially can be exposed to the virus because you are coming from where it's actually, how do I say it, more popular or whatever.
I think the problem is, okay, that is one of the problems, but I think most people are trying to self-isolate as much as they can. And obviously, like, we don't have much choice than to go out there and work, because most like, and it's not just NHS workers, it's people that work in the shops. Most of them are, within the Black African region, ethnic minorities. We are all ethnic minorities. We don't have the privilege to stay at home. So you are exposed more to the COVID outside, So you're, like, for example, me, so I did test positive and they were expecting me to go back to work 48 hours post if I didn't have a temperature. These times I'm still coughing and I'm still having headaches and stuff like that. And I still do have headaches. But it was more about if you don't have a temperature, that means that you are probably
capable enough
fighting it. Yeah. So it's like your body's fighting it, so you're probably immune to it. And I'm like, but what about the people around me?
Exactly. Are they not thinking?
So then that's the problem. Like a lot of people within the Black, African, Asian, ethnic minority, you're having to go out to work, right? And then there's people like me on the train.
Coughing?
Coughing. Sorry.
You're lucky no one beat you up, because I think apparently they used to hit people. When it started getting popular, that the coronavirus when it started getting popular here in the UK, whoever coughs in the street, people hit them.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people got attacked.
There's people like me going outside, going to work, and you are next to me, maybe on the train, sitting next to me, or walking next to me, or touching the rail after me.
Yeah.
And you're taking it home, and then you're taking it to a home where there's somebody who's probably has some health conditions, and then or they're older, and then they catch it. And that's the problem. That's why we're telling people to stay at home and not to leave, because there's people like me who are not like, you know, I don't look like I'm dying.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't think, oh, she's got the COVID.
Yeah.
But you can be taking it from me and taking it home. And then another problem is that within our communities, we are very unhealthy. You know, we have everything: diabetes, high blood pressure, every type of health problems. And our families don't really take these things for like really serious. You know, they're like, oh, you know, is this something that they say and blah blah blah. And you know what? Being at home for the past 2 weeks, I realized why a lot of people feel like they need to go outside.
Yeah.
Because you're at home, you don't know what's happening outside. You see the nice weather of London that, you know, it's never this nice. And you're like, you know, nothing's going on.
Yeah.
Sorry. Unless you're stuck in a hospital.
Yeah.
And you see what's going on a daily basis, and you see these people having to be, you know, taken away from their families, because most of them, you know, there is people that don't speak English, and they're like, what's going on? And at the same time, you're suffocating because you can't breathe properly, and
there's probably no one there to translate anything for them.
It's quite hard to get somebody to translate. And then at the same time, you're wearing full PPE, and, you know, sometimes an emergency and you have to intubate the patient straight away, and you don't have time to get you know, somebody to translate stuff to them. And it's really sad to see, because there is a lot of people who are passing away by themselves. There is a lot of people who are like struggling by themselves. Like one of my friends who she's a nurse but not in the UK. She was telling me that one of her patients passed away, and his wife couldn't come and visit him and say goodbye to him because they live in the same house. So there was a chance she could have the COVID. Then his son had to come and visit him because they don't live in the same household, so it was more safe for his son to come. So it is quite like it's quite intense. Like, it's really intense.
It's because it's annoying, obviously, like having like all the staff and all the people who have to work, obviously, to provide the basic things that everyone else need. For example, like you said, the people in the shops, the cleaners, you guys, the NHS workers, having to sacrifice while everyone else is not. Like, I've been looking, like, I don't even know how to say this. I've literally, look, my bedroom, this is not my bedroom, but my bedroom, like, half of my wall, half of that wall and that wall is glass, so I can see like the whole street. Yeah, for the past 3 weeks, people have been going out every day, like in groups. Like, parents are taking their kids out in their trolleys with like and even the kids who don't, you know, who's a little bit older, like 3 years old. People are coming out in groups. It's like everyone is out. It feels like, when you look at it, like from my side, when I look at it, it looks like nothing is happening, like as if nothing is happening outside. I'm just imagining, like as if I'm in a dream, and I'm imagining things, which is upsetting.
Yeah, and that's why it's really upsetting for us healthcare professionals, because a lot of people have had to kind of isolate themselves from their families, like children, their own children. My cousin, she caught the virus because a patient came in, and it wasn't even a patient, it was so she's a pediatric nurse, so she had a mum come in, bring her son, and she didn't disclose all the information. So she didn't tell her she went to Italy, she didn't tell her my son is having all these symptoms. So from that, when they tested the child, he had COVID, and then they tested my cousin and she's been positive for the past, I think she's now on her 4th week and she's still positive.
Wow.
In private hospitals, they test you literally weekly.
Mm.
Until you're negative, you're not coming back to work. Wow. It's not like the NHS that's like, we need the nurses, you need to come back and what. So she's literally been tested every single day, and she had to isolate herself from her kids. You know, so it's like you're especially like you're having really stressful time at work, and you're having a very intense work, and you come home and this is your peace, right? You know, you see your family and stuff, and a lot of healthcare professionals, not just healthcare professionals, a lot of people who are having to work during this pandemic, they're having to come home and literally you're like, don't hug me to your child, or go to the other room, and you're trying to isolate yourself from your children because you don't want them to catch it. You know, it's like, it's really hard on all of us, especially now that it's Ramadan. Like, I can't visit my family. I'm gonna have to be eating by myself because I don't want my family to get anything. Like, yeah. So I'm trying to like self-isolate myself, and thinking about that, like, you know, Ramadan is like, it's a family time where all of us get together and stuff. Most of us are having to eat by ourselves, or having to stay by ourselves. Yeah. You know, a lot of people are having to give birth without their partners because they are doctors or whatnot, so they try not to go inside that room.
Yeah.
It's really crazy. And then you see people going outside sunbathing because the weather is nice. Yeah, the weather is nice. Stay at home. Like, you have the opportunity to stay at home. Like, and that's why we're so fixated to that term, stay at home. You know? Yeah, because we're having to give up our independence, our life. Like me, for example, now I'm having to call up my friends and family to buy me food and buy me stuff from the shop, because I don't want to go outside. Although they're telling me I can go outside, but I can still pass it on to the elder generation or people outside. So I'm not gonna go outside just because I need something. So I'd rather call my family and they just drop it off to my house.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard. And that's why people like need to stay at home until this lockdown is lifted. Stay at home.